That's what you say.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning from
morning.
Tokyo.
Good morning from
Well, it's
Larkspur,
not really
California.
morning there, is it? What time is it there
Oh,
now?
it's good evening. Yeah, good evening from Larkspur, California.
Evening.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah, and
It's great
we're
to
doing
see
this
you.
interview. My name is what is my name? I think I'll use Ed from Zara tonight. So I'm going to interview. I'm looking at coming to Earth and settling in a different countries. And I've got I don't have any idea of where to go. So I understand that you're an expert, TG, Mr. TG Rossi, on on settling in Japan, as I understand that. Isn't that correct?
I don't know if I'm an expert, but I've been here now probably over 30 years. So trial by fire, I guess.
Uh huh. That's fabulous. Yeah, well, I got a whole bunch of people from another planet that'd be happy to come down. if
I'm sure from our planet too, Earth.
They'd love to trade places. No, in all seriousness, this is very important because people feel cramped in certain areas of the world, and they want to
Yeah,
spread out. They want to find different things, and you never
right.
think of Japan, but I understand there's some incredible deals right there. But what are some kind of the prices that you can run into in Japan? First of
Well,
all.
I think that people are seems to be they're moving everywhere out of the United States, and you see a lot of YouTubes on how to move to Japan, how to buy a house in Japan. There are
Yeah, yeah.
many cool YouTubes about the culture, and about what to look for. Certainly
Mm-hmm.
better than I could give you, but I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of experience, probably
Yeah.
more than they do, and I bought and sold houses here before and fixed them up.
Great. In
So
the United
I have
States
that
too, right?
experience.
In the United States and Japan, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
remodeling and
Yeah.
construction and those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a very pleasant experience compared to doing it in the peninsula or something, where it was torturous. But
Uh huh. Uh huh.
first of all, I think if you want to move to another country, you have to think about why that place. Why
Mm-hmm.
Japan? Why not France? Why
Mm-hmm.
not New Zealand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good
I
point.
had traveled around quite a bit, so I knew where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, what made you want to be move to Japan?
Well, I had been to Japan many times, and I really
Mm-hmm.
loved it, and I loved the people and the topography and the different seasons that I was here.
Yeah.
But I had also been to New Zealand, and that was an option too. I like Auckland, New Zealand, and also certainly France is always an option since I'm kind of French American, Italian American.
Uh
So
huh.
uh, uh, that would have always been an option. I love France, and I love the wine country. I love the Rhone Valley. I love Burgundy. It's just fantastic. So thinking about those three places in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of spinning them around my head. And I lived in Bangkok for a while too,
Wow. So you've been a lot
before I
of
met my
you could
wife.
choose a lot of different places to live, and so
Yeah,
that
I
adds a
lived in
nice dimension to
Thailand.
the Japanese thing.
I lived in Thailand first before I came to Japan, and then I realized I wouldn't want to live here full time. But
Uh huh.
Thailand's an option for people. Certainly, it's really set up for people to live there from Europe, and it's a good place. Chiang Mai is great. It's just something that it wasn't interesting to me. I like the culture of Japan better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my wife just between that in that period when I was living in Bangkok, and she was Japanese, and she really wanted to return to Japan. She liked California, and but I talked her into why don't we try living in Japan for like a year, and we could always go back or go to New Zealand because we went to New Zealand on our honeymoon,
I see.
and that was really great. People are so friendly, and it was so cool, and uh, that was an option. But we decided to come here, and we lived in a couple of different places in Japan, and finally we decided instead of renting, why don't we buy something? So we ended up buying a small house,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was really in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly but surely, I did some work to it, and it got fixed up slowly.
Great.
But I had
Great.
a lot of children too. In that process, she had two kids before I married her, and then we had four kids. So total six kids in the house. It was a pretty big house to handle six children.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I have a
Well,
lot of experience with kids in Japan too. Why would you want to bring your kids to Japan or have kids in Japan? But the reason I came to Japan was mainly because I had been here, number one, and number two, I had married a Japanese woman. So
mhm, lovely. That is a good enough reason for me. I'm telling you right now. Now,
Well, I found that I don't really miss the Bay Area so much. I mean,
mhm.
there's certain things I miss about San Francisco, Golden Gate Park or something. But the tea garden, it's like Japanese tea garden I
Used
miss,
to hang
and
around
I'm in
there. Yeah,
Japan.
even after hours, you snuck in.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Just to
funny you
stay.
would miss the Japanese tea garden and be in Japan, but that's a really nice example of Japan. Um, because some of those gardens in Kyoto are beautiful, but the tea garden is still
Huh.
really, to me, is
Amazing.
really dear to my heart.
So you can get a little
But
taste of Japan and just going to the tea garden.
yeah, exactly. Go
That's
to
good.
Japantown and
Well, I
pretend.
have a bunch of questions here that's
Go.
assembled from people that have
Sure.
been asking me.
Mm.
For some reason, cosmically I've been a center of attention for wanting to know how to move and invest in Japan. I must be something in my mind. Anyway, so I
Right.
have these questions. So one of the first biggest questions that came up is why is it better to buy than rent in Japan? If I say I wanted to go there, get a retreat for writing a book or something,
Mm.
and would it be better to buy a place or to rent for the time?
Well, to answer your question, it's better to buy because it's
Uh-huh.
cheaper in the long run. But I would recommend anyone thinking about Japan first if they like the culture and they had been here before, they had
I
traveled
see.
here before, they liked
Yes.
it. Oh, that's cool. I really like it because Tokyo is not an example of all of Japan.
Uh huh.
Most of Japan is very rural.
I
It's
see.
like Little Rock, Arkansas, where I live. It's
Wow.
it's not so sophisticated or
Uh huh.
anything, but yeah, if you go to Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka, it's very hard to rent something
Hmm.
because they don't really trust foreigners so much.
I see.
Yeah, when we first came to Kamakura, which is a little bit south of Tokyo, it's a beach resort. It was
Mm-hmm.
really tough to rent a house, and we had a lot of money. It
Wow.
wasn't about
Okay.
money; it was about they don't want to rent it to foreigners with a foreign name.
I see. Because why would that be?
Well, because they think that, and with good reason, that foreigners skip out
Oh,
and they don't pay the rent or they wreck the place. They barbecue
the
an
ugly
emu
American.
and they barbecue a boar in the side of the inside of the living room or something. They have this image of what we do, which is not really accurate. Just like we have an image of what they do, which is not really accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's not that they're prejudiced. There's a lot of reasons. In English, speaking English is one of the big things. If
Mm-hmm.
some problem comes up, they go, "Hello, the water doesn't work." They're like, "Oh my God, someone spoke English with me. I don't know what you're saying." So it's important that I had my wife, we're married to a Japanese national, so she could
Yes.
speak Japanese, and I learned enough, a little bit Japanese too. But it's no matter how much Japanese you speak, it's never enough. They
Uh-huh.
they
Oh
they
yeah. Oh
don't
yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Oh, I can see that. I can see
Mm.
that. So that's one of the things you have to be willing to deal with. It is obvious the obvious language problem, and it's obviously better to buy. So
Yeah.
and you
Yeah. It's
mentioned
cheaper.
another question that came up was why don't they
Yeah.
rent to foreigners? And I think that's you brought up a good point there about the trust.
And trust and language barrier.
Yeah. Now what's the range of the cost for buying a house? I mean,
Well, I mean, they'll give you a house for free. It depends on
really?
where it is. If you want to live
Uh-huh.
out where there's no electricity or power or water or anything reasonable, but your range could be anywhere from 10 grand to 50 grand to 100 grand. Depends on what you want. $100,000, you could buy a brand new house for 100 grand.
Wow.
Build a brand new house,
So just
and
just on one
yeah,
end of the spectrum, if I may interrupt, so you got this free house up in the mountains.
yeah.
How would how would the people expect you to live there if it was not connected to anything? I mean, do other homes there live off the grid, or they're just
They're off
is
the
it,
grid. They like that. Some people like that kind of thing with snakes in their house, and it's bamboo forest everywhere, and the house is demolished. So horrible house.
that would
I
make
mean,
a
so
great reality TV show. There's something
no,
to do that.
they have them. Check on
Really?
YouTube. There's lots of.
Wow.
I live in this house in Wakayama Prefecture, and I fix it up. And there's some really good ones. There's
Wow.
one Swedish guy who's fixing up houses in Kyoto. There's a
Huh.
lot of YouTubes about this. A lot.
Interesting. See, I'm out of it.
Mm.
Anyway.
A lot. So I think that you want to find a house within somewhat close to in the suburbs of Tokyo, like Saitama or
Mm-hmm.
Scuba City. That's not scuba diving, but Scuba TSU something something something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Scuba's great. Saitama's really nice. Certain neighborhoods around Tokyo,
Mm-hmm.
especially around the Kamakura, Ifune, and a lot of really cool towns around the beach area.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautiful and
Huh?
not so expensive.
I see.
Yeah,
That's
pretty good.
great. That's great. So, why don't people don't buy condos? I mean, that came up. Why don't people just buy condos instead of
Well, they
houses? There was
do.
one better.
Actually, houses don't sell, but condos sell very well
Oh,
because
really?
people want to be by the train station. The
Okay.
train station in Japan is the hub for everything. It's where you shop, where you get information about something, where you buy wine,
I
where you
see.
buy tickets.
I
It's just
see.
like a hub, like a
It's like
mall.
I see. It's the the
So
mall.
everybody wants to be within that 1 kilometer, one or 2 mile radius of that station. Those condos, 200,000, 300,000
I
for
see.
sure. If they're nice and have a view,
Yeah.
you could expect to pay something up in the threes. And but they're beautiful.
So
They're
so
really
what are
nice.
now just as another are there condos near? Where's the closest train station that gets you to Tokyo? The big one that I mean, any
Well, there's
easily.
there's several really big Tokyo train stations. You don't want to be anywhere near that,
No,
but
but I mean
certainly,
near your town,
yeah.
near your town that goes to Tokyo.
Well,
Is it
yeah, I'm
how
about an
far away?
hour. I'm about an hour and a half from Tokyo.
Oh,
Like most suburbs in any direction, if you go from Tokyo out west in
uh
each
huh.
direction, you're an hour from something.
So is
And
it?
there's fast trains. They make that. There's bus service too, and
So
you could
how
drive.
long
Yeah.
is it? Is that train station that's close to you have any condos in it near it?
Yeah.
Uh,
And those
I
are about
see.
150, 200. Depends
150.
on depends on
So
view.
somebody
Yeah.
could commute to Tokyo living where you are in
Oh,
a
he's
condo easily.
absolutely easily. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, people do it every day. The train's pretty crowded.
Uh huh.
You-
Uh huh.
Commuter train,
I know we're
and
somewhat
there are
off
also
the
people take
subject, but
bus. Bus
uh huh.
is really good.
So the point is the bus and train network is very good in Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
So you don't
bus
need a car.
goes, picks you up, and real nice, comfortable. They stop somewhere as a rest stop, and has a bathroom aboard, and it's a very comfortable
But just
bus.
so much about the culture, you can get on and off the housing thing. But
Yeah.
a question did come up. Say you've got your remodel, right? You got a
Mhm.
beautiful home. If it was really in good shape, it'd be 150 grand, right? But you've got it for
Yeah.
25. So so you got it for 25 grand. It obviously needs work. So do they have a lot of do it yourself places like Home Depot or this kind of stuff?
Oh yeah.
Is it possible
Really
to
big,
do?
beautiful, fantastic.
I see.
Everybody's
So that
nice. They'll help you out. Sometimes there's one person who speaks English, which is fantastic,
yeah.
because you don't want to get barbecued about changing the electrical on something and not know how to do it right. Yeah, there are people who speak English at those home centers, and there's many of them. A lot of DIY situations happening here,
I
and they
see.
just keep expanding, and getting more and more of them. It's a trend that's going up. So, and also fixing up your outside is certainly when I first moved here, nobody did that, but now people are coming around to fixing the landscaping and
Uh
doing
huh.
the outdoor a little
Uh
bit
huh.
better. But I think that if you go outside of the major cities to a suburb, whether it's Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe, Tokyo, something, one of those bigger cities,
Mm-hmm.
Sendai,
Mm-hmm.
around those areas, there's a lot of little suburbs, and those houses can be very cheap. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my neighbor's house across the street just sold. He I don't know why he didn't want to keep it, but it was his family house. He sold it for 45,000,
Oh my
and it's a
goodness.
pretty good house.
Yeah.
But the guy who bought it put about 10 or 15 into a new kitchen, new bathroom, and new floors and stuff like that. But he did it himself.
I see.
He did all. I actually asked him, I can help you do it. You want me to help? You don't have to pay me. I just do it for fun. No, no, no. He spoke English. No, it's all right. I want to do it myself. I like the process.
Wow. So, but still under a
So he did
hundred
it
grand,
himself. He did a great job too.
under 100 grand, he's got a full functional house. I
He got
mean,
his whole kitchen, all the cabinets for like $1,000.
so and that's local to you. That
That's cheap.
he was across the street. You said, I'm sorry. Where was he
Yeah, right
located?
across the street from me. And now he rents it out for the house rents for 750, I think, seven
I
fifty
see.
or eight. Yeah,
So,
it's not a big house, but it's a nice neighborhood. So we live in a pretty good neighborhood, upscale neighborhood. But the houses sell for 50, 60, 70 grand in this neighborhood.
so
Yeah,
it represents actually a real estate business investment. You could flip homes or buy them
you
and rent
can't flip.
them. You can't
Flippy,
flip,
no, no.
but you can buy and rent. You can buy and rent.
Yeah, that's even touchy, I think.
So he was lucky
Um,
to rent then in his
I
situation.
think he was very lucky to
I
rent
see.
that. He had he had he had some good strategy on how to do that. because I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm making an extra parking spot." Wow, okay, that cost him 3 grand just to
Wow.
tear out with jackhammers and put more
Yeah.
cement to take some of the front yard and put another like
Parking spot.
parking spot. But he knows that two people have a car, and it's a good point to rent it out. And I
Yeah.
think he had a real estate company managing it for him. So he's off to the next one because I ran into him at the store. I go, "What are you doing down here?" You go, "Oh, I bought another house." Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so
So he's
uh,
actually in those. He's finding opportunities in the business
yeah, he
to.
just develops a house every year, I guess.
But it
Good
sounds
luck
like
selling it. You know.
the main concern though, or the main point that you want to make is that if you come to Japan to buy a home, you shouldn't look at being a big real estate investor. It's something you're going to
No,
buy, you want to keep for some reason. You might
yeah,
be able to rent it out,
maybe.
but it's some place to live or have a retreat for
Yeah.
that you're really how I guess it depends how close you are to Tokyo, how social it is, but it seems
Oh,
like
it's very social. Oh,
I
even
see.
in a small town, there are all kinds of activities happening all the time,
Oh,
and
really
they're
cool.
very welcoming to foreigners. If you go outside of the zones where there are too many tourists, you are a novelty, and everybody likes you. Yeah, I mean, as
I
long as
see.
you're nice to them and
Yeah, yeah.
participate, they'll be just as nice to you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I see.
I didn't find a problem with our schools. I mean, there's some neighbors who avoid me,
Uh-huh.
that they just don't want to speak English or something like that. But that's just normal here. That's just part of the culture, and you can't cry about it. You just have to laugh about it.
Right,
It's
right,
okay.
right.
My job is to convince them that I'm okay, even though
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not.
sure. Well, we all have little secrets. Yes, I know. Anyway, when you see pictures of Japan, you see Mount Kilimanjaro. Or no, that's is that yeah, is that
Fuji, Mount
that's
Fuji.
Fuji? Geez, yeah, I got to think Africa mixed up. Boy, Sarah Palin was my geography teacher. Anyway, so yeah, look at Mount Fuji, and you see all these wonderful little wonderful countryside pictures. But
Yeah, that's a nice area too.
how is the weather really? I mean, how if you're going to because I heard about the Olympics, people were struggling with the heat
Yeah.
for training,
Well,
and they
that's
told
a minus here. There, like any places in New Zealand or France they all have pluses and minuses. Okay, here the plus is there's no crime.
I
You
see,
can leave your iPhone on the table when you go to the bathroom or in this cafe. You could leave your backpack there, and no
I
one's going to
see.
touch you. No one's going to
Uh huh.
touch it.
Uh huh.
I still put it in my pocket. It's just a extra precaution. But
Hmm.
sometimes your bike might get stolen at the grocery store, but that's about it.
I see.
Even that is very rare. Um, yeah, it's a very safe place,
I see.
but for people.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I have had some run-ins with people. In 25 years, I
Uh
was working at the university teaching
huh.
English and
Uh huh.
engineering at a university, and I was going up there every day commuting. So the train is kind of a magnet for, kind of weirdies,
Hmm.
sometimes.
Hmm.
And there's
Hmm.
weirdies here.
Hmm. Oh,
We
interesting.
have them.
I
Yeah.
see.
They're just under the radar. You can't detect them because
Well.
we don't know what that looks like.
Uh
But
huh.
they're there and
Uh
they
huh.
will hassle you and bother you. Yeah. So but they're pretty easy to deal with. They're easy to deal with, and the police are very good here. If you do run
Uh
into
huh.
some major problem, the police are very good. So, um, uh, that said, it's very safe for people.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think when you speak of earthquakes, if
Okay.
you have any fear of the earth moving underneath you,
Uh huh.
this is not the place
I see.
because there's a daily earthquake.
Daily earthquake. Wow.
There's thousands of earthquakes, every year. So, it's some are big, some are small, and
Uh
they
huh.
happen very irregularly. And if it's disconcerting to you, this is not the place. Go live in France. Eat, breathe, and be stable.
Just have the nuclear power plants be a threat every day.
Well, that's another problem. You have floods,
Uh
tsunami.
huh. Uh
You
huh.
have a hurricane situation here, a very bad hurricane situation. If you're in the South Island or Okinawa, you have very bad bugs and snakes and bees and shit that will kill you. So you have to watch yourself in the summertime. Starting from June to August, it's miserable here.
Uh huh.
Yeah, it's very humid. It's like if you've ever been to Manila or Bangkok, it's worse than that.
Huh.
The
Okay.
humidity is 90 something percent, 100%
Oh
humidity,
dear.
and it's probably 95 degrees. So where that pushes the heat index up to about
Yeah.
118.
That's like
It's
New York or
you,
something, or
you
just.
oh, New York's like a refrigerator compared to here. I've lived in New York City when I was
Uh-huh.
a kid. So,
Uh-huh.
no, it's like that. It's like Washington, D.C. and Foggy
I
Bottom
I see.
in June or July. It's because there's a lot of swamps
I see.
and a lot of lakes, and it's humid. And also, you get a lot of the weather coming up from South Pacific, from Manila and from the
I see.
Philippines. We live
Interesting.
pretty close to the Philippines, so
Huh.
sometimes you can smell it in the air. You can smell the tropics, especially
Wow.
if there's some kind of wind or hurricane blowing
Uh
that
huh. Uh
up
huh.
there.
Uh huh.
It is damn hot. It is
And that's what time of year?
excruciating. It's
What's that? What
terrible.
time of year would you say
I would say
that?
it starts in July and ends in mid-September.
So that's not
Yeah.
time not to be around
It's a
Japan.
time never to come here.
Yeah.
You're an idiot to be here during that time. And not just that, there's snakes that will hurt you, and there's insects and centipedes.
So
The
so
centipede problem
is
is
that
really
everywhere in
bad.
Japan? Is that everywhere in Japan? The pests
Well,
you're
not
talking
so
about
much
and the
the
heat?
city, not so much the condo,
I see.
but certainly the house
Yeah.
could have a centipede problem. And when we're talking about centipede, we're not talking about a little centipede,
Right.
like, oh, isn't that cute? Look at the little centipede. We're talking about something like this that will
Jeez.
that will charge you and
Really?
bite
Charge you?
you, and you
Really?
have to pull it off
Oh
you,
God. Yeah. I mean,
and
it
and it's
actually chases you.
it'll
It'll.
chase you, and
God.
and it and it if it bites you, and I've gotten bitten before, it very 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 painful, and it swells up terribly.
Oh.
So it's a problem. Insects are a problem. You can get around that by making sure your house is very secure, but it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of
Yeah.
So you never want to be here during those months, and
I see.
certainly no.
No.
But if you're coming here in November, December, January, especially in this area in the Kanto region, which is
Hmm.
East Japan,
I
East
see.
Middle Japan, Honshu, Middle Japan, Middle Island, Middle Place. Yeah, the winter is very mild, very
I
beautiful.
see.
Today's
Huh.
about 60 degrees or something.
So,
This week will be
but it has the
70.
mountains, obviously, with Mount Fuji and everything. That has the elevation for snow and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, there's lots
Yeah.
of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
see.
if you go in North Japan, even in this area during the wintertime, February, you're going
Hmm.
to get snow. A
I
lot
see.
of it. Yeah. Tokyo too.
Tokyo gets snow. Interesting.
Mm,
Wow.
it sure
So,
does.
so you bring up really you've got to go there to see because it seems like there's a lot of opportunities, but you've got to have either a stomach for it, a state of mind,
Yeah.
or a particular reason to come.
Well, you got to
Um,
have a strategy
yeah.
to combat bees that are the size of a bird.
Mm-hmm.
And if that bee bites
Bees
you,
the size of a bird.
if that bee bites you, you're pretty much dead.
I see.
And they're around.
Uh huh.
They're called O Suzumi Bache, and they're very mean and they're very
Wow.
aggressive, and
Wow.
they're about this big.
So you don't want to run into a
And
nest in those
they
guys.
don't have a nest. They look around. They kill other bees,
I see.
and they're always searching around. And I've seen them in my backyard. So it's not some
So they're not
reality show.
everywhere.
This is real.
They're not some like everywhere. They just come
No
around.
park. Maybe
Yeah,
some rural area.
man.
Yeah. So rural area has its problems, and the house has snakes too. Lots of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of snakes. If you don't like snakes, don't move to the countryside. Because those snakes are killing those bugs.
I see. Yeah,
They're getting the centipedes. They're killing the bees.
yeah.
So it's like a gigantic restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
The
mean, it's like the
smorgasbord.
bat. The
Uh-huh.
bat is like I saw this. Oh, look at the cute little bird.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at little birds flying around. Whoa! It went by my face. It's like the face of Batman. It was like, oh my God. I asked my wife, "Do we have bats here?" Oh, honey, don't you research these things? Yes, we have bats. I always ask my wife, "Oh my God, I didn't know." It's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's bats and bees and snakes. Whoa, snakes! There are some poisonous snakes,
Uh-huh.
but there's some big, big snakes.
Big
But
snakes.
those are considered. It's funny because those are considered good here.
I see.
If you have a snake underneath your house, it's
Mm-hmm.
keeping the rodents down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like it's like
It's
they
like
don't
pest
touch
control.
those things. They don't
Yeah.
kill things here. I
Good.
kill things if I see it. but they do not. But lately, if it's outside, I go, okay, you're not
Yeah,
in my house, you don't die.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Okay. If you're not in my
sometimes cute
house,
little green snake,
okay,
but
there.
sometimes a 2 meter big, thick, like look like a python.
Uh,
It's not poisonous, but it sure is scary.
yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I had one on my front door once.
Oh, blah blah
Right
blah.
before I just grabbed the front door, it eats frogs. So the light that you turn on at night has little bugs, right?
Uh huh.
Because they attract the light, and those bugs are eaten by the frog, and the snake eats the frog. So if you cut one of those processes off,
You
then
have
you
a.
eliminate your snake problem. If you
I
get
see.
rid of the bugs by your light, you get rid of the frogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Lately,
it's a
it's the
chain.
last couple of years since we remodeled, we haven't had any incursions.
So 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 here I am. I'm committed with all the everything you've mentioned. I want to invest in Japan. What is the
Mhm.
first thing I should do? Besides, I've already taken a trip. I know I want to do it. I'm back now to do business. So what do I do?
Well, I think that knowing what area you want to be in, really
Uh
researching that because it's a pretty big country, and accepting certain things like, well, if I go South Island, I'm not going to get the snow, but I'm going to have a 112-degree summers,
yeah.
But if I go north in Sapporo, which a lot of people do, I'm going to have winter for 5 months or something. I don't want to do that
Well,
either.
it's
I
fascinating.
would
Yeah,
rather
right.
have the bugs and the heat than snow.
I see. Yeah,
I don't want to. I can't. I'm from California. I don't like snow all that much.
I see.
I don't
Yes.
really ski at my age. I just go, hi kids, have fun, have fun.
So
Your daddy's waving.
so you decide where you want to live. So who do you
Yeah.
call? I mean, what do you do to
Well,
get the
and I would
ball
go on the
rolling
internet. I would
paperwork-wise?
look on. Yeah, I would look on YouTube. There's some really good realtors that specialize in foreign
Oh,
there's realtors that specialize in foreign um uh
yeah.
clientele, and you have to search those, but they're there.
So we got about 10 more minutes, I guess.
All right, but we could cut this up, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We can cut it up, brother. See, this is good.
So, any more questions? What else you
Uh,
got? So, but I wouldn't move to Japan just because it sounds fun and it's cheap. But I'd say that buying the house is a pleasant experience. No problem. They don't hassle you like Italy. It's like
so
paperwork.
you go
Central
into the
Station.
to continue this process. You go on YouTube. You've seen something. So you call up. You contact like a local realtor.
Yeah,
And
that
and
speaks
then what?
English.
Then specifically, what happens? He speaks English. So he's gonna. Is it similar to America? You get shown the house,
It's
and then you
exactly like America. They
and then
even
you
have
have a
Century
title
21.
company, and then you got
Yeah, they have
you have a
Century 21 here and
yeah.
Remax, and
I
it's the
see.
same thing.
I see. I
So
see.
it's not really all that much different. There are some laws that are a little bit different.
Uh huh.
Like when you're building a house, you
I
can't
see.
build it on agricultural land, or there's some little tricks about that.
I see.
Unless the agricultural land, you're a cousin to the owner, some weird thing. Then
Interesting.
you have to fill the rice field with certain materials, but there's not some building inspector coming around here, with a clipboard.
I see.
That's
Okay, that's
nice.
good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
and I love the contracting companies. They're so nice and
Uh huh.
so dependable. They're
Uh huh.
right on time. The contracting company that we picked was early.
Wow. Huh.
They showed up early, so they were there half an hour early, and I would make them coffee, and they were laughing and all having a good time. And
That's
and
great.
the main contractor was a young guy. He was so cool
Uh huh. Uh huh.
with me,
Yeah.
because what they did is they did the house in sections.
I
First they
see.
did the kitchen, and then we had to go out to the family restaurant, or something, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
they did the bathroom, and then they did one part of the bathroom, and so they did it in sections, and floor and ceiling and other things they had to do. And we ran into some problems. So we had some water damage,
Uh huh.
which
I
was
see.
terrible.
Uh huh.
So
Uh huh.
they had to fix that on the fly.
Okay, so that's great. So you sign the deal, you get the house, and and exchange of the money and all that is just probably pretty standard. That's people wire
It's
the money or
it's
whatever. Probably could PayPal you nowadays.
there
Uh
are some things about Japan that are not like America.
huh.
Okay, like
Okay,
we don't have checkbooks.
I see.
You don't write checks.
I
Everything's
see.
cash or money transfer. There's
Okay.
no dryers.
No dryers, clothes
No
dryers.
clothes dryers. Now, I don't know why.
Fascinating.
Power issue. People put their laundry outside. It's pretty sunny here normally.
Yeah,
Nice to do your laundry. There's laundromats.
I
Very
see.
nice. So people don't have a dryer.
Interesting.
As a rule, people don't have an oven.
Interesting.
People don't bake cookies here. That is,
Really?
the things that, yeah, they want you to go out to eat. Now, the modern house might have those things.
I
The
see.
modern house, the new house built has some of those side.
Uh
But
huh.
one
Uh huh.
thing that even the new houses have, no central heating or air.
Wow. Okay.
They don't have anything inside the walls. This wall here behind me
Mm-hmm.
connects right to the outside wall. There's no insulation.
Really?
There's no pocket. It's just a
So,
wall.
so is that something that people consider when they're remodeling? Is to put that insulation in?
Well, you can't because unless you build a brand new house and you make a pocket inside that wall for
I
insulation.
see. I
But
see.
there's earthquake reasons for that.
I see. Interesting.
It's
Why
less
is
to
that?
move.
I see. Interesting.
When the house is simpler and more flexible, it doesn't have the damage from an earthquake as much,
I see.
right?
Wow. Okay.
And some houses have been really retrofitted. Like this one is, whoa. This was the extra distance. And when the big earthquake happened in 2011, we had a lot of stuff fall off the wall, some cracking, but very little damage. The house next door, the whole front wall fell off.
Oh my God.
So this house is pretty strong to earthquakes
So it's the
because of
joints
many
and stuff
reasons.
that where it connects that they do retrofitting and all that kind
They
of stuff.
they don't
But
retrofit when they build a house. They do it usually to extreme earthquake code.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So there is an earthquake code.
there is, but everybody follows it. But there are some methods you can do this or that, or
Yeah.
depends how
Yeah.
much money you want to extra spend to
Yeah.
make it even better.
Yeah.
But by and large, I think that the materials they use are really good, and it's not that expensive. It's better to find land and build a house.
Uh huh. That would be the
It's
best
it.
way.
I think
Uh huh.
because it costs about 80 grand to build something really cool, modern,
Yeah.
and then it costs about 50 or 30 to 50 grand for the land. Depends
Jeez.
on where you are, what
Whoa.
city you are, and you're in business, and they have a brand new house,
God.
and people love brand new houses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands of vacant houses around here because people don't like to live in an old house for a lot of reasons. A
Can
lot
you
of
get a
bugs and
free
snakes
house and
and
tear it down and build a new
oh
one?
yeah, tearing down all the time happens. You see it
Yeah.
every day, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I see.
That's how I
Huh.
like to collect signs. I don't know if you could see this sign there. There's like a palm tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from a hair salon. I mean, they're
Wow.
always tearing something down. I'm always saying, "Can I have that sign?" Like, yeah, this guy's foreigner's crazy. Why does he want the sign for? But I love signs, store signs. So, um, yeah, there's always tearing down. They're
Uh
tearing
huh.
down everything. Yeah,
Uh huh.
that's a brisk business.
So we've actually covered it pretty well here. I think some basic ideas.
I think
Um.
that New Zealand's a great place to live, but it's expensive.
Mhm.
Or you want to live in France, you have a language barrier. I mean,
Mhm.
here the language barrier is probably not as bad as France.
Really.
I mean, here people try. I'm sorry, I don't speak English. I learned in high school. Could you teach me? They're open.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in France they go, no, we
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
speak English.
No.
That's
Vous
it. Get
êtes
out.
stupide.
Yeah, go home, stupid Yankee.
Yankee. Go
So
home.
so yeah, but people are very. It again in the French countryside is very different around
Mhm.
Dijon
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
Beaune and those areas in the Burgundy. Wow,
Mhm.
people are so friendly and it's so
I see.
great. Who cares you don't speak French? Here you speak wine, you speak good food, you
You
speak
speak what?
friends.
Vous êtes.
Speak dancing. What a nice place to
J'appelle.
live.
Was it? J'appelle wine.
Yeah. Je m'appelle Vin, s'il vous plaît. My name is no. I think I speak a little French, but that certainly never could. You know, I don't know. That would be a barrier. But if I did move to France, I would just say fuck it. I don't care. I'm not speaking French. Just you speak English. I don't care if I don't have a friend. Who cares?
Well,
You
in
know.
France, you don't have any friends anyway. They don't. They don't. Do people have friends in France? I don't know. Seems like nobody.
No, it's very friendly. I
Oh, is
mean,
it?
again, Paris, no.
Yeah.
But certainly the
In the
countryside,
countryside,
especially
yeah.
Burgundy or the Rhone Valley, is
Yeah, I see what you're
fantastic.
saying. Yes, as you were saying
Like
before.
like like Montpellier,
Uh huh.
Nimes is an old Roman city.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Nimes is fantastic.
What about Saint Maxime? It's near Saint Tropez on the Riviera.
No, no, it's
No, no.
too shishi and too expensive and
Oh, really?
too
Yeah.
80s, you know.
Two eighties. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like some parts of the southern France are nice, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
The Côte
uh,
d'Azur.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, but Montpellier is at the end of that,
I see.
and Montpellier, and that's a nice city. It's a
Is that on
little
the
bit far from the
Italy
beach,
side, you
but
mean, or
very
Spain?
open. You are from America, who freaking cares? You know what I
Uh
mean?
huh. Uh huh.
But here in Japan, they're just people are just a little bit leery of you, and they don't
Yeah.
want to speak English. But that's very easy to overcome.
You just be nice. Just be a good
Be
person.
participate in the
Yeah.
things that they do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they have festivals or bazaars or little things, and you show up and you have kids and it's school and you meet the other parents, and
Uh huh.
everybody likes you because you're their token American guy that they like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there
Their
are very
version of
few
DEI.
Americans around here.
Uh huh. Well, in Tokyo, there's a bunch, aren't there? Right?
Oh yeah, everywhere.
But
Yeah.
on the countryside, not too many.
No, nobody,
Nobody.
very few.
You could walk for
That's okay.
miles. Hmm.
That's okay. I'm usually open doors for people.
Yeah.
I try to let them go ahead of me if I'm driving. I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
try the best I can to be the nicest I can to everybody
Sure.
all the time.
Oh yeah.
I bring my friends gifts. I bring the neighbors gifts of coffee that I make.
Mm-hmm.
I whatever. I try to just be giving and open, and it's rewarded me.
How much? It's just thinking about. I was just thinking about the coffee. The coffee gave me how much? I grind it. How much do I put a teaspoon in for a
Oh,
cup
the
or how?
coffee I sent you?
Yeah, yeah. How
I
much?
would uh that coffee's probably each scoop, those little scoopers,
Uh huh.
coffee scooper, it's like a little square
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
with a
yeah,
little
yeah,
handle.
yeah.
Each scoop, two scoops per person.
So how many is a scoop? How much is it?